welcome there. We are here with Outright BPO Services, a company that has been registered in Malaysia and Sri Lanka. We specialize in providing comprehensive yet cost-effective, tailor-made back office solutions for all your company needs. Today, we're here with Ms.Sharmeel Kaur, who has over 25 years work experience, 17 of which has been in HR. She is currently the Head of Human Resources at DHL Asia Pacific Shared Services. Hi Sharmeel, thank you for being here with us today.
Hi Noel, hi, nice to be here as well.
So Sharmeel, could you share a little bit about yourself?
Oh, about myself. Well, so as you rightfully said, I have about 25 years of work experience, out of which 17 years was in HR, and prior to that I was in the IT industry. I have been in the shared services space for a long time. I joined one of the pioneers in shared services at that point in time, which was HSBC, the banking group. So they set up their first shared services in Cyberjaya many years ago. So that was my first shared services experience, and thereafter I've been revolving around shared services, in and out, revolving within different industries. And then I'm back again into shared services. So that's a little bit about me. By qualification, I actually hold a degree in computer science.
Wow.
So some people actually ask how come computer science and human resources.
Right.
It's all about passion. It's all about the love of the job. So that basically drove me to get into human resources, and here I am today.
Very nice. Thank you so much for sharing. And just like you said, with such strong passion, so staying in the industry for over 17 years must mean you have a really strong passion towards this. So may I ask, where does this passion exactly come from, and what's your biggest why for actually being in HR for so long?
I think I guess it's probably embedded in me. It's sort of like, some people have a DNA to do this. Some people have the DNAs to do that, like the accountants and finance and numbers and so on.
Yeah.
For me, it's all about people, right? So the community that I grew up with, the upbringing that my parents gave me, the family orientation, the surrounding of the family, pretty much gave me the love that I have, to manage people. And it never occurred to me in a very early stage of my career, but I had the talent, and I'm very thankful and grateful to all my previous managers and directors that actually curated me or developed me and told me that I have a lot of strength in regards to people management. So why don't you go into a role that requires managing people and stuff? Because people, by far, the complexities of people and all that. So I love the human psychology. That really entices me a lot. It really excites me a lot. So that's where I found my passion 17 years ago, and then I decided to just get into human resources and then never look back ever since.
Nice. I can always strongly love and admire people that have such strong passion and have such a clear idea on what they want to become. You really are quite an inspirational person, I would have to say.
Thank you.
So, being in the HR field for so long, and now what with the pandemic happening and all that, and what we're calling the new norms and all that, as someone from the HR field, I can imagine that overcoming these new norms and stuff like that must have been quite a HR nightmare for you to handle. What with working from home or hybrid working solutions, and now also a common trend is rising where we want to always prioritize the mental health of all our staff and employees. So from the HR point of view, what are some of the major challenges that you have actually faced?
Okay, so the pandemic hit us, right? Nobody in the world knew what this pandemic was all about.
Yeah.
So we scrambled at that point in time, thinking what to do. We really didn't quite have the infrastructure to really work from home. Actually, the notion of working from home has been there for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
It's just that companies actually, the flexibility of working from home has been there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it's never been a part of life, right? So you said it's not a new ways of working. That's actually a part of life in a working environment, right?
Okay.
So we've never actually policized that, so people call in and say, okay, I'm a little bit sick and I work from home, go ahead, right?
Right.
And in the past, not every employee used to have a laptop, right? So, people used to have desktops and stuff like that. People used to have like desktops and stuff like that, and we never really, if people could never really work from home. There was a lot of restrictions,
Right,
so
right.
maybe the top executive or the management team, if they had a laptop at home. So when the pandemic hit, we scrambled because not everybody had a laptop that could work from home, right? But the one good thing that the pandemic taught us is that the way we turned around and moved things and brought in the IT infrastructure in, so the IT guys played a very, very massive role here. And then we were actually forced to work from home. So for us from HR also, we were literally, we struggled. There was a lot of challenges because everything we do physically, we now have to bring everything virtually. Our engagements went virtual, our learning and development went virtual, our inductions went virtual. So it was a real scramble. But then the best part that came out of it also taught us that, hey, that's where the birth of the hybrid working environment came in, right? There are possibilities where people can actually enjoy working from home and also come into the office. So however, there were a couple of the challenges we faced is that because there was lack of interaction between employees whilst everybody was working from home during the lockdown period, that sort of limited communication, limited engagement, limited interaction, right? And people were literally cooped up in their homes, especially the ones who were staying in a condo or in an apartment, right? There's nowhere else to go. So what I saw is that the rise of mental health. Mental health in the past used to be a huge taboo in Malaysia. Nobody speaks about mental health in this country, right? But the pandemic saw a different side of that. People started talking, people started bringing up, people started addressing the issue of mental health, right? And all of this started happening when people were cooped up in their homes. They can't go out, they can't have meals. Because in a normal setting, right, in a normal family orientation setting, going out, engaging with people, talking to people, looking at people, going out with family, having meals with family, it's a huge thing.
It is.
And suddenly we take all of that away, and people are now
It's a huge
all
void.
restricted, right? Exactly. It creates a huge void in people, right? So yes, we did see a huge rise in mental health. We started advocating and talking about mental health openly. We even set up a mental health support group in our organization to actually help people. Sometimes people just want to talk, just get it out, right? So these guys we send them for training, right? So that they know how to deal with mental health. People coming in with mental health issues and emotional issues as well. So they went for training, and then we established a group, and employees actually had an avenue to come and talk to us with whatever issues they were having. So all of this happened in the 2 years, 2020, 2021, of the pandemic that we were in. And then when we started implementing the hybrid or the mobile workforce, right? So the way we did it is that for us it's an alternative week. We have team A, we have team B, the red team, the blue team. So every week the teams actually rotate, right? So they come in on an alternative week basis. So when people started coming back to the office, people started to engage, started to have more face-to-face interaction. We actually saw a dip in the mental health situation in the organization. So that actually says a lot, right, about what is actually going on in the human psychology, right? Because the moment somebody is isolated, they go into a lot of the different cycles of life, right? Loneliness, especially if you're alone and if you're not living with anyone. And then we even saw a lot of relationship issues, employees' relationship issues, because they were at home, their wives or their spouses were at home, and then there used to be conflict because you were in my face, I was in your face kind of thing. So a lot of that sort of slowly started to the situation started to get better. We saw a bit more physical. We started to have sort of like physical town halls, physical engagement, physical interaction. Whenever and wherever we have an opportunity to bring people back into the office, we will do it. Otherwise, we will still, with the new ways of working, we'll continue with the hybrid approach, right? So that's one. Secondly, I think the hybrid approach is very advantageous, especially for organizations like shared services, because we do a lot of hot desking. So when you do a lot of hot desking, it actually gives us the opportunity to grow our business as well. So that's another way to look at it. But the first challenge we had was bringing people back into the office because everybody was so comfortable working from home. I can work from my chair,
Exactly.
my comfortable chair, my massage chair. I can work from my bed. I don't want to come back because I have to dress up, go through traffic. And so it took a lot of re-advocating back again.
I see.
A lot of re-engaging back again to bring people back.
Right.
So I think it did take us time to settle everything down. And once we did, I think we're pretty much in a very good space right now.
Very nice, very nice. So earlier you were mentioning one of the biggest challenges was actually getting them back into the office. So from the HR point of view, what was like the best tip or trick that you learned on actually getting your employees to actually get engaged and want to come back into the physical office?
Okay, so we actually celebrate the major events in December.
Okay.
So we celebrate Chinese New Year, Hari Raya, Deepavali, and then year-end we have Christmas.
Right.
So what we do is, in Malaysians love to eat. So one way to entice people back is say, guys, come back. There's a common town hall. Everybody needs to be in this town hall, right? We have food for everyone.
Right.
We have some activities some engagement activities. So either there's games or there's performance and stuff like that. So honestly, we didn't really feel so much resistance. The only resistance we had is the traffic. So we actually moved to this office next door, the amazing building, and we were in a different location before we started coming back to the office, the chief office.
I see.
And one nice thing we did was our new office has a very nice, modern, open collaborative work outside, right? So we have a nice pantry, we have nice collaborative areas and stuff like that. So we sort of changed the mindset with regards to a working space as well. And that sort of enticed the people to also come back to the office. Say, hey, I have a nice new office now, right?
Right.
I have a better, workstation in my new office than in my home. So I want to come back, right? So I think it took a bit of adjustment, even with the traffic, with the parking situation we had here. But eventually, we moved here in March. It took us maybe 3 to 4 months to actually settle everything down. That's one. Two, we should never stop listening to the voice of our employees.
Right.
So we had some bus issues. There's some shuttle bus. There are 2 MRT. There's one MRT and there's one LRT station here. Right. So there were a bit of adjustment with regards to the transportation system that we had in this location. So we constantly asked employees, how is it going? How's the transportation? Is parking a problem? Is there anything we can do for you? How can we help? Right? What sort of IT equipment can we give you? Because we don't expect them to come to office, carry their keyboard, their mouse, and maybe their screen, and go home, right? So we gave a lot of flexi benefits, but that's concerned. So okay, there are many that maybe we give you some level of allowance through flexi benefits and set up your own home office, and you have also your setup here as well, so you don't have to carry things back and forth. So that sort of also enticed people. I think a lot of other companies as well gave allowances to employees to actually help them set up a home office, right? Because I've had feedback given by my employees. I'm working from my dining table, right? My back is aching. I can't manage. It's difficult. So for us, it's like, okay, if we have given you an allowance, go and give whatever necessary to set up a home office. But at the same time, the office here is also available. When you come into office, you can also have the option of working here. So that's basically what we did, and so far it has been pretty good for us.
It actually, honestly, does sound really amazing. You almost borderline convincing me to want to sign up and join into your office already.
do. Yes.
So, hearing all these challenges that you're saying, it pretty much sounds like immaterial if you're an MNC or even an SME. Everyone's going to be facing these kind of problems. It's what we call a global hitter, I guess. But I would say for the SMEs, the smaller guys, this actually is quite a really big and I would say difficult challenge for them to overcome, because not only are they having to struggle with starting up and actually building up their own companies, but now they have this whole huge added curveball of having to deal with so much ad hoc things, especially with the pandemic and the new norms that's been thrown in. In your opinion, what do you think about actually the concept of outsourcing and having shared services providers coming in to take off some of the load, or to actually just handle some of the other more nitty-gritty parts of it?
And exactly that's what shared services are actually good for, right?
Yeah.
So the concept of shared services is that you take a lot of the administrative work from you. So that whether you're an SME or a big company like HR, right, you guys need to focus on the more core tasks that's needed of you. So customer service, right, business development, sales, marketing. You need your resources to deal and focus on those things rather than them having to deal on a 50-50 basis. So I have customers to attend to. I also have to come back and do all the administration work that I do. So leave the administration work to the shared services guys to do it, right? Because these are mundane, routine tasks that we are able to do it. And we basically what shared services does is it adds value to our business, right? So I think this model has been in existence for a very, very long time.
It has,
right?
Yeah.
So it's a good thing that people have realized the value we have in shared. I mean, I've been in shared services for a long, long time, right? With big banks like HSBC, big guys, Citibank, Standard Chartered. So the first, BFSO industry was the one that actually started the shared services industry, right? The finance, the banking guys, and all that, because they saw value in it. Right? So that the frontliners or the main core people at the bank are able to focus on what is really required of them.
Give 100% to what they're actually supposed to do.
Exactly, which is customers, right?
Exactly.
Which is customers, which is the sales driven, the marketing elements to it, right? So let us do all the admin work on the back end side.
Yeah. I honestly couldn't agree more with that statement.
Actually, shared services in the past started with the IT industry. You have
really?
help desk, the call centers, and all that. And then after that, it started expanding into the finance industry. Now, even HR has also gone towards the shared services or an outsourced sort of model.
Okay.
Not even HR, it's also expanded to purchasing, to procurement.
Wow.
So it's actually...
It's pretty much in every division of a company you've already got it in there.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow. I never knew it was so diverse to that degree.
Exactly.
That's impressive. Very impressive, to be honest. Yeah, so now seeing that we're already, in October, coming into November of 2022, I can imagine that there has been quite a number of new challenges on top of what has been thrown up earlier that you mentioned. So heading into 2023, from a head of human resources point of view, what do you think are some of the newer challenges you think might be coming up for 2023?
Right, so I think the market, basically for us, right, from a HR perspective, the market, since we went into an endemic phase, it's actually become an employee's market right now.
I see.
So hence the concept of the great resignation has pretty much come in, and it has also affected us as well, as it has many other companies out there. So it's a real thing, it's a real problem that we have. So I think people are now looking for more options in their careers. So options such as, am I able to work from home? Is hybrid workforce policy that you have in the company? How flexible? How much of flexibility can we stretch as an employer? Right? Inflation is kicking in. Can we get more money? So a lot of market comparison will take place. So I think the same great challenges will continue through 2023 as it's stabilizing the workforce, because even for us, we have a lot of turnover, a lot of attrition that's happening. It's quite common though within the shared services space, right? Because shared services is a very dynamic industry, especially in Malaysia. In other countries, not so much, because it's not really positioned as an industry. But in Malaysia, it's like an industry, like the agriculture, like the engineering, like the construction or the manufacturing. So shared services is considered an industry here. So I think for us as employers, we have to constantly start thinking of ways to actually keep this talent, within the organisation. Of course, there's so much we can do in regards to organisation and benefits. But what other things are we looking at? There was an article I was reading recently. Come 2025, pretty much the entire workforce will be all millennials. So I'm a Gen X, right? So you will see the lesser and lesser of Gen X's in the workforce, and a lot of the millennials now will be coming out. And so with the millennials, it's what from my observation is always about lifestyle. Even with the Gen Z that we're talking about, right? It's always about lifestyle, right? I want to be able to come in the office in the morning, have my Starbucks, start work, go have a little bit of a break time, and then I will work. So I think it's balancing the requirements of the workforce, the new workforce that we have for the future, versus the organizational goals, the productivity, and the output of the company, right? So I think it's that. Number two, I think we should start looking at talent development, right? So the one element that I've seen so far is that people leave because they think they don't have a defined development in the company.
No opportunity for growth.
Exactly. So, like the career pathing, that's very important. Even if it's not career path, at least have that a little bit of, like a dialogue session with employees to tell them how you're doing, where can you go, what are the possible options in the company. So even to that level, that we should apply some level of flexibility. Of course, we want to keep our people in our teams forever.
Of course.
But I think that's not what the new workforce or the new generation is asking for, right? Because I think these guys are quite eager to move up the ladder relatively quickly. But don't make the mistake of putting them up there but not preparing them for it, right? Then it will be a disaster. So I think these are the challenges, the common challenges that I will see, continuing to engage with people in a hybrid work environment as we do. How do we continue to, to constantly evolve with regards to IT infrastructure and so on and so forth. So those are things that I've seen evolve since the pandemic to where we are today, and they will continue to evolve as well. Tomorrow we don't even need to carry laptops to work, right? Probably a little tab, wherever you go in the world, you can work, sit wherever you can. But of course, compliance, security element has to be looked into it, right? So these are common things that I see will probably evolve in the future with regards to the new ways of working.
Alright, very nice. Thank you so much for sharing all that. So just like one last final question to wrap it all up. Having discussed all of this and having a very clear picture on a lot of the struggles and honestly a lot of the amazing improvements that you guys have taken in HR, how confident are you with your over 17 plus years of experience in HR with actually tackling and handling some of these major challenges entering 2023?
I mean, the pandemic by far has taught us a lot of things. For me, that was the biggest challenge that all of us had to face, including, the HR people, the HR folks in dealing with the situation. I know some of my colleagues had to deal with fatalities from the COVID situation and stuff like that, right? So, for me, if you ask me, being through the 2 years of the massive challenge that we went through worldwide, whatever that is coming on, for me, the most important element is preparedness. Right? So as long as we're prepared, as long as we plan, as long as we organize, as long as we have a vision, we have a goal, we have an objective, I think you can actually overcome any challenges in the workplace, right? Because challenges will always be there. It's how do you work around these challenges and finding a solution. So my response to that, Noel, is that I am 100% confident.
I love that answer. I really love your confidence in it. And another thing, I totally agree with what she said. It's about how prepared you can be. And as she said earlier as well, if your staff has the ability to 100% focus on their main tasks, taking care of their customers and everything, because you have certain shared services handling all the other things, whether it's from administrative to finance, then no matter what company you're in, I believe they will be able to achieve 100% in satisfaction with their customers. Yeah. So, thank you again, once again, so much for being here with us and for entertaining us with all of this and sharing your vast knowledge with all of your human resources.
Anytime. Thank you for having me here as well.
Thank you so much. So as you've just heard from Sharmeel Kaur, if you have a shared services provider with you in your company, it is one of the greatest benefits that you can have. Because if you do, your staff and everyone else will be able to give their 100% to the most important thing, which is your customers. So if you haven't got a shared service provider, I strongly recommend you to check out Outright BPO Services. They are an expert in the field and provide shared services for a variety of departments. If you would like to know more about them, simply just Google Outright BPO Services, or you can contact the number below for any further questions you may have. Thank you.